Bill.
We will call together March 13th, Wright County Board of Commissioners, 9 o'clock. And please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The minutes from the County Board meeting of March 6th.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from March 6th.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Vetch, second by Commissioner Hewson. Is there any discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Approval of the agenda. Does anybody have anything to add? Up to here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to add under the consent agenda an item, maybe under E, Health and Human Services, under number 2, to request then to add to Wednesday's Personnel Committee a request to look into hiring a Robert Half temporary staff person for our account technician position.
Is it all right with everybody to put it on the consent agenda to go to there, or do you have other questions?
I just want to make sure this is just for the temp worker. This is not for, because yesterday at Human Services we talked about using them for recruitment. This is not what this is.
This is the account technician. So yesterday at the board, you approved us hiring just straight temp staff to fill the account clerk position.
Right.
This is the account tech position, and we'd be actually just asking to look into or approval should we decide to use Robert Half, but this would be, I think this is the ones that they could work with us, and then if they were working out, we would hire them, so it would be like the recruiting position.
Yeah.
For recruitment.
Well, it would go to personnel for discussion.
Temp to hire position, temp to hire, which is basically recruitment.
Right.
So we have to discuss
So
on that.
I'm not opposed to putting this to the personnel, but I'm actually opposed to the.
And this is just for discussion, so we could. And
Okay, that's fine.
All right.
Chief Deputy, did he raise his hand too?
Anybody else have anything added to the agenda?
Hearing none, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve today's agenda.
I'll second that.
A motion by Commissioner Houston, second by Commissioner Burrell to approve today's agenda. Any further discussion? Hear none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Consent agenda. Does anybody have anything to
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Vetch. Any further discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Mr. Bob Hevela.
Hey, good morning, Board. I'm going to quick try to hook up this tablet. I'd like to introduce Ryan Kotola. Come on up, Ryan. Ryan joining our team here.
Oh, good.
He is a fiscal officer, and one of the things that he's working with right away is wrapping up the audit, working with Lindsay to make sure we know where all the pieces are. And then he's also been working on OpenGov. And at 9:30 today, we have a representative from OpenGov stopping out here to work with us on performance measures. So this is Ryan Kotola. Ryan, this is the county board.
Your neighbor almost, right, Bob?
Kinda, he's from Zimmerman, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's.
Yeah.
Born and raised in Maple Lake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bunch of relatives though are from Cato,
Yeah, that's I recognize the name. So.
Yeah.
And you've been pronouncing it right, Bob?
Yeah, I've rehearsed it with him for a couple days. So today, board, I'm presenting to you the budget report, but I'm working with Ryan. I told you last month the modified versus cash-based reports. Those reports keep changing. So for the first 4 months of each year, I'm going to present to you the cash-based reports. Because as I showed you January, now when I show you February, an accrual would come through and alter the numbers, and it'll take me too long to explain all that to you. But when we get into the budget process, those modified reports will be meaningful. So, you can see that typically we are following the same as last year. Our budget did go up. Our revenues and our expenditures are pretty commensurate with they were last year. If I were to look at our revenues, again, our budget did go up for revenues, and our actual are pretty commensurate with the same. If I were to look at the fees for services, we could look at the boarding of prisoners. You can see how we did chase that budget up, and again, on an actual basis, we're still exceeding that number. If I looked at taxes, we were still zoomed in on fees. So taxes, did you see how in January we just had the final settlement? So this year we seem to be kind of spearheading up. So what that is, it's this other taxes. When I look at those other taxes, you'll see right away it's our local option sales tax. So, or as I get into putting these into the dashboard for you, I'm going to draw your attention to these, but for right now, since I only had a couple minutes, our February reports are pretty commensurate with February reports from the prior year. We are on trend. We have a few things I just showed you. Otherwise, if you have any questions, I can kind of go over the budget reports with you.
I'm good.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the February revenue expenditure budget report.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Burrell. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same side. Motion carries unanimous. And welcome, Ryan.
Ryan, welcome.
Yes.
Welcome.
Welcome. Yep.
You made the right decision, too.
To the Wright County.
Mr. Dennis Bizey, Wright County Fair Board.
And Mr. Chair, just before Dennis gets going, this is something that I introduced a few weeks back that we talked about at the last Fair Board meeting, so Dennis will give us the details.
Well, I'm here representing the Fair Board. We try to keep the fair going. We got 20 members on the Fair Board, and I think 9 of them are younger. We got less years younger than I've been on the board, because I've been on the board there for 46 years.
And you total.
So we got a good bunch of young people coming up again. And I just want to say how blessed we are in Wright County to have the commissioners have enough foresight to buy the land we need and work with the fair. Because I went by Carver County Fair yesterday, and they are just like a little peanut in there. They're so swamped in, and we have so much land near the park and too many things at our fairgrounds. I'm really happy because the fair I have dear feelings for the fair, because I've been going to the fair since I was 8 years old in 4-H, so it's a long, long time. And we are proposing a new building. According to your map there, it's right next to that little square building up there where it says Hopewell.
Right. Hopewell?
Yeah.
Little small storage area there.
Yeah, it looks kind of like an outside toilet there, but that building is 30 by 36. So it's not real that small, but we're just going to put it north of that. There's some evergreen trees there. We're gonna take out some evergreen trees so we can get it, so it placed nice, so everything looks nice at the fairgrounds. So, this drawing was done by Maple Lake Lumber. We might critique it a little bit when we go to the county to have them put it out in bids. So,
Mr. Chair.
I know we gotta come in here, if we spend over $10,000 at Fair Board, we gotta come in and get your blessings.
Commissioner Potter?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Dennis, do you have an estimate of what this building will cost?
I talked to Wright Lumber about drawings, and then I didn't have to take it there. I took it to Maple Lake. Wright Lumber said it'd be 100,000. Maple Lake said it'd be 80.
Give or take.
Give or take.
So right at that 100,000 range. And just be clear with people out there, the 100,000 is being used during the fairs, but also used for storage afterwards, which will help pay for the cost of putting it up.
During the fair right now, we'd have no place to put isolate cattle or anybody that would be sick. Like the health department said, you got to get them out of the barn. So we never had it happen. We was going to say we put them in a trailer, but nowadays it's getting worse and worse. It's got everything going to be up to snuff. So we would put some pens in the one corner of this big building, so we'd have a place to isolate animals. Then we could park all our stuff during the fair in this building instead of just leaving it around the grounds. And the rest of the year, we would storage. And it's going to be 16-foot sidewalls so we can put in big boats. Right now, there's only one building at the fairgrounds that's tall enough for big boats. And this year, I think we just about got it full of boats. But we could get more if we get bigger boats, or bigger, higher doors. So I think this year we're taking in around $40,000 in boat storage. So the buildings are getting used good in the wintertime.
Commissioner Houston?
So then the payments will go, I mean, the rent that you collect will go for the payments, or how does that gonna work?
Pardon me?
I said the rent that we get for the storage, will that help offset the cost of the building, or how does that work?
Well, it goes in our revenue, our general fund.
Yep.
And right now, we save money right now we got $60,000 put away in savings in case we have a bad year.
Yep.
So we'd have enough money to pay the bills. And, we've been saving money, and there's enough money, we have enough money in the bank to pay for it.
Okay, great. The other question I have is, so this is going to be in the same area as where that one, like this storage building, will that replace
To
this
be
little
just
storage?
north of that storage building.
Okay.
We're going
got
to
it.
keep the storage building too.
Okay.
We have to have a place to put our junk.
Okay.
Because we save everything.
And Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Potter?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Dennis, I am very proud of the Wright County Fair. Like I say, I've been at it off and on since the early 70s. And we have, the third highest attended fair in the state, something like that. It's very popular. I know a lot of people from other counties that come to our fair because their county fair stinks. And they've been doing this for a long time. And I'm one that firmly believes that if you don't keep investing and improving your fairgrounds, you might as well just get rid of it. To me, you're just helping it be more solvent, improving, and doing things to match. Like say you need a quarantine pen, that's the law. We have to have it somehow, some way. I mean, I like when you did quite a few years ago with the grandstand, did some improvements to make that safer and everything else. And I applaud this. I mean, we've got other things going on in the future that we've got to keep looking at to keep us having a good, strong fair. We need to keep reinvesting in it. And I applaud the Fair Board for what they do to make us have a viable and a very friendly fair that people like to go to.
This year at the fair, we had just about 68,000 people. So most fairs, there's about 3 of them that are more than we are, but a lot of the smaller fairs, they're getting 20, 30, 10, some counties only get 5,000. One day, a few years ago on a Friday, we had 19,000 people at the fair.
That's impressive.
Also, this is a year we have to have our grandstand checked again by a engineer, because every 10 years you gotta have it inspected for safety. So I'm gonna call Jed Larson and have him go up there and check it out, so we got everything right. We don't want nothing to happen.
Lee, we'll need a motion then to approve this, I take it?
Yes, that would be
Okay.
requested.
And I don't want to nail down to a specific price, because I know just by running it through Craig Schultz, our building inspector, we had to add 2 more doors to the project, so it could vary a little bit, but I'll just make a motion to authorize the building of a 60 by 120 pole building on the fairgrounds. Good enough?
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Burrell, second by Commissioner Vetch. Is there any further discussion? Just to clarify, the money will be coming from
From the fair board.
from the Fair Board itself, nothing from the county funds. Clarification.
I have one more.
Okay, no further discussions?
I have one more. Oh, you're not done there yet?
Well, is it regarding this?
Yeah. One more request, and we get the land leveled off. We need some fill, if the county could haul the fill or the gravel in there so we don't have to buy it. I see Virgil's here. I'm sure he's shaking his head, yeah.
No, he's not.
Mr. Chair?
We don't have an unlimited gravel source anymore, so we have
Right.
to buy it and then bring it out, but we'll do whatever the board would like us to do, I guess.
Mr. Chair, we
Yep.
need to clear up this motion on this building first, and then we
Yeah.
can talk about the leveling of that and how we're gonna do that.
Okay.
Yes, that's how we have to take care of the
Yeah, I
building
don't know
first,
how,
and then we'll figure it out. Okay.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
I would like to have the Fair Board, along with Virgil's staff, go out to see what's needed to get this done, and if there is something extraordinary, come on back before the board and let us know what it is. And that doesn't take a motion or anything, but just,
No, and the other thing is that because of our situation,
Right.
there might be something closer and actually end up being less expensive.
correct,
Maybe
The haul
cheaper
it.
for you to get it,
correct.
yep.
Local.
So just have them work with Virgil on figuring this one out, what they need to get done, and, and come back and just let us know what the price is on that.
because I don't think we need top-class gravel in the building. We just need some fill if it's not level. And we want to raise it up enough so the water don't run in.
Correct.
Would there be any possibility of some fill taken from over by Waverly? That they could haul over there?
Their project? Not sure.
So, but you guys can work it out. Okay,
Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you very much.
thank you. Mr. Virgil Hawkins, Highway Engineer.
Good morning, Chairman Doladin and Board of Commissioners. I have 2 items for you this morning to consider. We opened some bids on March 2nd at our highway building, and we'd like to award the following contract bid, 2018 seasonal bid for seal coating. The low bidder was Pearson Brothers of Hanover in the amount of $754,833.88.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chair, to approve that bid,
Second.
contract.
Motion by Commissioner Newsom, second by Commissioner Potter. Is there any further discussions?
Yes, Mr.
It's
Chair.
nice to see that it's so much lower than you even estimated, so that's great.
Commissioner Potter?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. This seems like it kind of flip-flopped. I thought Ashtec got it last year by about the same amount. Am I
It was Pearson last
mistaken
year.
on
It was
that?
Pearson last year, but.
Pearson last year,
But we've had Aztec in the past
They've done-
years too.
you know,
They're very competitive.
And Allied is always that much higher than everybody else, but fee structure and that, but I'm I'm liking the numbers. I think we're doing
Yeah.
well on this.
How many miles of seal coating are you doing?
This year, we've got about 42 miles.
And, Mr. Chair,
Commissioner?
I would just want to, of course, I think we're gonna go with the lowest bidder here with Pearson Brothers, but I know when they did County Road 8 down our way, they were fantastic. I mean, as far as traffic control, the job that they did, it was like, there wasn't a complaint. I mean, they just handled everything so great. I was totally impressed.
I agree with you, Commissioner Burrell. Their traffic control is top-notch, Pearson Brothers is. They do a really good job with traffic control.
Any further discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All the same sign, motion carries unanimous.
Okay, thank you. The next item is, there's also some other seasonal bids that we opened, and the next one, plant mix bituminous materials. We got bids from Hard Drives, Oman Brothers, Mid-Minnesota, and Knife River. And our recommendation is accept all these bids, and there are various prices, but depending where our maintenance staff is working throughout the county, that gives them options to go to certain places and depending how far the travel is and the hauling. So we'd like to accept all these bids.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to accept the bids as per Virgil's recommendation.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Vetch. Is there any further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Potter?
I do like this that we're using all of them because when you're in one location and there's it's going to be a lot more convenient. Also, this spreads it around a little bit, the work, which helps. So, like, a lot of contractors, they feel like counties and entities are so locked into one or the other that they don't have a chance to get in. This, we have options no matter where we're at.
Seems to work really good. It gives us options during the year to.
Good question. Can you remind us the difference between the different types of mixtures?
Sure. The SP 12.5, the 12.5 is millimeters, and that's the size of the aggregate in the mix. And the 9.5 is a finer mix. It's a smaller aggregate. And then the fine mix is even smaller than 9.5. It's just a real, really fine mix with not a lot of aggregate in it.
And where would you use the different ones?
Well, it depends on what work the maintenance is doing. If we're doing a very thin patch, we'd go with a finer mix. If we're doing an inch patch thickness, then we might go with the 12.5 or the 9.5. So it just depends on what work is doing, what is going on at the time. If it's for patching a culvert, when we repair a culvert or replace one, it just gives us different options for the different types of mix.
Would you do the 12.5 and then the fine on top at all, or would you just, when you do?
We do for our construction projects, but these are mainly bids for our maintenance patching work, so this is all generally in one lift. But when we do a reconstruction project, we do the bigger aggregate mix down below and then the finer mix on top.
What did you use on 35 last year?
35 was the SP 9.5 mix, I believe.
That was basically an inch.
Okay. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All the same sign, motion carries unanimous.
In the other bids we got were equipment rental, and that's just various bids from different companies for the different items. We didn't get as many bids as we typically do every year, but the ones we got, we'd like to accept all those bids. And then the pavement markings, we had a low bid from Traffic Marking Service that we'd like to award that bid to Traffic Marking Service.
And I think my last motion covered all of these. It said various seasonal bids, mixed materials, equipment, and pavement markings. I believe that covered all of them.
So I covered everything?
Yep.
Okay. I just didn't go through the others yet.
Just want to make sure that we didn't.
Okay.
Because when I read this, the various, it was to cover all of these because.
Commissioner Houston, you had a question?
No, I was gonna ask if that should be two separate motions, but you covered it.
But wait though, because Mike, your motion was to accept all of them, And the recommendation for the traffic marking in AAA is to award it to Marking Services of Maple Lake.
Right, but it's in the listed.
If you'd like to separate
Because we awarded
that
it to a variety of different vendors within that,
To make it cleaner, let's just have a motion to do the pavement markings and the equipment rental.
All right.
okay.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the award to Traffic Marking Services of Maple Lake
And the equipment rental?
and equipment rental.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Burrell, second by Commissioner Houston. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous.
Are we happy?
Now we're covered for sure.
Yep.
Let the records reflect that Commissioner Burrell is happy now.
But I, what, Mike, I missed?
You're happy.
Oh, no. I'm always happy, right?
So Marion can put that with a big
Are we on
smiley
time?
face on the front
We're a
page.
little early yet, aren't we?
Yeah.
3 minutes.
Mr. Chair, I could do my
You're,
committee report in 3 minutes.
Yeah, go ahead, do it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Last week, I went to the, March 7th, I went to Transportation Day at the Capitol with Transportation Alliance. It's an annual event that I've attended every year I've been here so far. And we had the, going for the constitutional amendment for the dedicated sales tax option was auto parts was one of them, that we had talked pros, cons, everything about that. Capital bonding bill, we had Senator Bill Ingebrigtsen and Representative Dean Erdahl there explaining what the bonding scenario looked like this year. I mean, the governor put out $1.5 billion in request for it, and it sounds like 830 million is probably going to be the max that's going to happen on that, which is, they're going to have to scramble on how they're going to fit that in, but I think it's doable, and I think both sides of the aisle understand that there is a limit to how much you can spend before you start tampering with their limits that they have there. So it was good discussion with them, and they talked about the different things going on in transportation funding. They had some former state reps, House and Senate, and former commissioners of MnDOT there to talk about where it's going in the future in the landscape and where do we need to go from here. We're fortunate they had a comprehensive transportation package last year, although we didn't get everything we wanted, but just to keep it known that we're still here, we haven't gone away yet. And some of the problems, and some of them try to rehatch the past, and I just try to get them to go past that. Whatever happened before, that's irrelevant for now. Where do we go from here, and how do we keep it going? And the difference between metro and rural, and some of the concerns there. The other one is they talked about is the Trump infrastructure plan in the federal legislation, and so far it's not looking like it's moving too fast through anything. I think President Trump threw everybody a curveball when they asked him how he's going to pay for it, and he said, raise the federal gas tax, and I think that just took a few people by surprise, because they were so whipped up on how you're going to pay for this, and he just told them, and I don't think they're ready to internalize that one yet. It doesn't sound like they've got any hearings scheduled anytime soon for anything. I'm hopefully by the time I get out there in May that they will actually have something in place or a timeline when they're going to actually hear this and actually discuss this. Hopefully it's this year. Unless something changes dramatically, I'm not sure if that's going to happen. And then they talked, we were fortunate, we had the leadership committee there from all the Senate Majority Leader, Speaker of the House, Senate Minority Leader, and transportation chairs and leads on both sides. And it was a good discussion on what's coming up, what things we need to look at for coming future. Is all the first deadline is what, the 23rd of this month, I believe. It's really coming up quick. And we'll have to see how it goes on that one. I'm looking forward to some good news out of this, because there is still an appetite there to continue to put some money for roads. I don't know if it's 300 million of this budget or what, that kind of number in that neighborhood. I think there's bills north of $1 billion already, but most of them aren't going to see the light of day. But that's how that went. And if anybody wants to take a look at this packet of what they've got from there, I'll have it back on the table. And that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Potter, can you remind me again when they'll be making the decision on the corridors of commerce and if I-94 will be getting anything this year?
That should be early April. I want to say April 5th, but I think it's early April. They had 160 projects that were submitted. They usually get less than 100. And of course, some are duplicates and some don't have supporting resolutions, and those will get weeded out there. But the scoring process, I think we've been real fortunate on going through and how they're doing this. The legislature keeps throwing curveballs at it with trying to change the dynamics of it, where last year they made it really tight, and that's what led to some confusion. But Patrick Weideman from Corridors of Commerce very masterfully got through that to address the concerns of the Metro and the outstate on how this program is run. And maybe it's not perfect, but the legislature tied their hands on this.
Okay, thank you. Coordinator Kelly, later on when we get to it, can I get you to take the committee of the whole minutes? I forgot to ask you earlier.
Okay.
And now we have, it's 9:30. We have a public hearing on ordinance 18-1, Chapter 31, Powers of Special Deputies. And we have an attorney with a bow tie explaining everything to us.
One of these days, Mr. Chair, I'm going to get you to wear one. Mr. Chair.
I don't want to show you up.
Yeah, you probably would.
He'll borrow one from Elmer Eichelberg when he wore that one time.
Elmer's, I appreciate Elmer's service, but I think his tie was from when he was first elected to office. I can help you modernize here. But Mr. Chair, I'm here to present ordinance amendment number 18-1 to you for a public hearing. We did a published notice on this on February 2nd of 2018. Notice was mailed to all the townships and municipalities in Wright County. I only attached one of the letters. I sent out about 30 of them. We do a mail merge, so the top one gets to scan it into the packet. So, but I sent out well over 30 letters to all the municipalities. I received no written comments back. The city of Monticello, their city administrator, reached out to me with a question. I answered his question, and that was the last they really heard on it. So, so no written comments. This would create a new chapter, Chapter 31, which would allow the sheriff to appoint special deputies to issue citations in lieu of arrest. So, happy to answer any questions, and this is a public hearing.
Chief Deputy, do you have anything to add to that? All right, at this time then we will open it up to public comment. Does anybody from the public have anything to ask? Anybody from the public have anything to ask? Lee, would you show a picture of the peanut gallery out here, just so that people know that everybody's actually awake? One more time. Anybody have anything to ask regarding the special deputy? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing and bring it back up here.
Mr. Chair, I think the public would appreciate maybe just, if you'd like to read that for us, Mr. Kreiser?
I most certainly can.
And they'll clarify what that is.
Yes, the language that we're adding here would state that it's an ordinance authorizing the special deputies of the Office of the Wright County Sheriff to enforce all applicable state and local statutory and regulatory provisions governing zoning regulations and parks, trails, water, boat, vehicle, or traffic safety through the issuance of citations or other means permitted by state law. And then we have subpart A, the County Board of Wright County ordains that special deputies duly appointed and sworn by the Wright County Sheriff are hereby granted the authority to enforce, through the issuance of citations and other means as permitted by state law, the provisions of any state or local statutory or regulatory provision governing zoning regulations and parks, trails, water, boat, vehicle, or traffic safety.
This would be a sworn officer, but not a deputy sheriff.
Licensed.
They would
Not a
not be a
licensed-
licensed peace officer,
Right,
no.
yeah.
It could be a licensed peace officer, but
They would, yeah.
not for the, it's not required for this position.
No.
And they wouldn't have the authority then to detain or arrest, only for citation.
They would have the normal authority that a normal citizen would have to detain someone.
So you could
They
still
can
do
detain,
an
yeah.
arrest.
Citizens are,
Commissioner Burrell, you have a question?
Derek asked my question.
Oh, okay.
Stole my thunder again.
Well, I know that they were still talking about what equipment would be required, and I thought handcuffs was one of them. But then again, it could be just for looks.
No, no,
Mr. Chair, that's more of a personal safety issue
Yeah.
that the sheriff would determine.
right.
Let the chief deputy go for it.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, as far as equipping this Special Deputy Park Ranger with handcuffs, OC spray, tasers. Some agencies do allow those type of equipment on there, whether it's a community service officer or a special deputy park ranger. But that type of equipment is for defensive purposes only. They're not, they're not trained to go out and make an arrest if somebody is attacking them or coming at them. The training that they receive with the use of force is for defensive purposes only. It's not to engage and to make those arrests.
Mr. Chair, did we determine what we're using for like vehicles for this position? What they're going to be, are we in a different marked vehicle?
Correct. We want to make sure there's a very distinguished delineation between a Wright County Sheriff's deputy and a park ranger. The uniforms that we picked out are going to be very similar to what you would see in state park, a national park ranger. It's going to be that green with a tan. They're definitely going to look different from the Wright County Sheriff's Office. Probably a white truck with the green stripe and some type of park ranger designation on there. So there is a distinction between the two.
Yeah, at the last meeting, the discussion was yet they hadn't decided if it was going to be a pickup or if it was going to be an SUV.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it depends on
What's
what's
available.
going to happen, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Chair, with that, I'd make a motion to approve ordinance 18-1.
I'll second that.
Is this a resolution?
It's an ordinance.
So not
You don't have
required?
to do a roll call, unless you want to.
All right. Motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Vetch. Is there any further discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you.
Items for consideration, committees of the whole. Coordinator Kelly, would you please take that?
Thank you, sir. The Committee of the Whole met on March 6, 2018. All commissioners were in attendance, in addition to several staff representing the administration, HR department, auditor, treasurer, sheriff's office, health, human services, assessor, recorder. In addition, our labor attorney, Frank Madden, was in attendance. The purpose of the meeting was to conduct interviews for the upcoming classification and compensation study. We did receive 8 proposals, and of those 8, we had decided to interview 3 of the firms, which were Springstead, Keystone Compensation, and Bjorklund Compensation Consulting. We asked them a set of questions which are attached to the minutes, and each interview was approximately 45 to 55 minutes. Springstead was represented by T.L. Cox and Julie Urell. Sadhu Abood represented the Keystone Compensation Company, and Bob Bjorklund represented Bjorklund Compensation Consulting. Completion of the interviews, the commissioners and various staff met to review the responses to the questions and to make a recommendation to move forward with one of the firms. The consensus of the group was to proceed with Springstead. However, there was concern raised regarding having an appeals process, which was not clearly defined in their RFP. So following this meeting, the recommendations were to proceed entering into a contract with Springstead, pending the appeal, or clarification of the appeal process, verifying the cost with the inclusion of the appeal process, and confirming that they will be able to meet the May 2019 deadline that we have set. HR Director Johnson will follow up with Springstead to clarify and confirm. When it's all confirmed, the contract will be brought to the board for final approval. The second item, which is also listed as a item on our agenda, I will note coming up, was to schedule a closed session with the board and appropriate staff members for March 19th at 9 a.m. Purpose of this closed session will be to discuss labor negotiation matters as it relates to the classification and compensation study. Mr. Chair, that is a summary of the minutes.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the Committee of the Whole minutes from March 6th.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Batch, second by Commissioner Hewson. Is there any other discussions?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Lee, are we sending out, like say, a thank you card for those that participated and let them know that we appreciate the time they took to come to see us? I think it's the right thing to do to let them know that even though they didn't get, firms that didn't get it, at least show the appreciation and the thanks to the board for them to take the time to submit a proposal for us. Is something I think that we should be doing with these people to let them know that we are thinking of them and the time they spent to put together a proposal. And it could be signed by the board chairs just fine if you want to.
We can do that. Yeah, we've had some correspondence via email, but I think a written would be more formal. And I guess, Mr. Chair, just to follow up on the recommendations, we did reach out to Springstead, got some clarifying documents regarding the appeals process and an updated cost, which was forwarded to the board. And we were anticipating bringing that contract to the next meeting for signatures.
Okay. Is there any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Item B, schedule committee of the whole closed session, which you previously alluded to.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to schedule a committee of the whole closed session to discuss labor relations strategy for March 19th at 9 a.m. in the boardroom here.
I'll second that.
And Lee, how long do you think that will take?
To be safe, why don't we call it about 2 hours?
Okay, I may have to leave at, well, I have a site inspection at 10 o'clock, so.
Okay, very good.
That's okay, though. I'm fine with that.
We'll save the important things till after you leave.
That's fine. I knew you would.
I had a motion by Commissioner Potter. Did I have a second?
Yes.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Item C, schedule bond capital improvement public hearing for April 3rd.
Mr. Chair, this is the first step we have to take in securing bonding for the new Justice Center funding of that project. So we'd like to set that date as noted on April 3rd at 9:30. This will be held during the county board meeting.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Hewson. Any further discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All the same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Advisory Committee, advisory board updates. Since Commissioner Potter kind of already started, are you all done with everything, Commissioner Potter?
Mr. Chair, just one more item of note. It's been talked about when we, as commissioners, go to Mayor's Association meetings and Township Officers meeting to make sure it's clear that we're not in violation of an open meeting law, because we're all, more than likely, we'll all be there. We won't be discussing anything, but I'd like the legal opinion of how do we need to make that an annual notice that we will be attending these things, or do we got to do it every single time? Because the question was raised, so I figured we might as well get it straightened out and make sure we have on proper firm footing on this.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Potter, my answer might depend on who asked the question.
No.
No, I think in general, you know, the board in the past, if there's a meeting like that coming up, has mentioned it during the board meeting to try and give people notice that it's going to be out there. But in terms of us having to post notice just because we think that, you know, a quorum of our board may attend, that's a little more questionable in my mind. In other words, I don't think we need to do the posting. But I think it's a good idea to always notify the public. In general, when you attend those meetings, you may be asked questions, you may answer questions, but you're not actually making decisions and doing county business as such for the most part. So I don't know if you have anything, any other thoughts on that, Lee, but I think the best thing we can do is usually notify the public when one of those is coming up, so.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Brian, is this a proper form to notify? Or do we have to post it? Can we just say like, March 21st, Wednesday at 6 o'clock, will Mayor's Association be meeting in Buffalo at the Bison Creek? Is that good enough?
It is for me.
I think we get a lot of notice on this. It'd be easy just to list them on the agenda. In the future, we should just put them out there, just put them on there, just because then it's real clear in writing that we.
Yeah. And, Mr. Chair, Brian, you're right. I mean, we get asked questions or whatever, but it's not like we're huddled together as a group, doing conducting county business at these things. So, but it's good that the public knows that there may be 3 or more of us at these events, and so.
Yeah, you're right, we don't sit together.
No.
And Mike, to be clear, there's nothing on March 21st.
Yeah, there is.
There is?
Yeah. The Mayor's
Wednesday.
The Mayor's Association.
Oh, Mayor's Association. Okay, I said Township Office would not be
No.
there.
And we'll note that Commissioner Delyden sits with all his townships he represents.
Yep.
What time is it?
Yep. They all like me, since I have none. Lee, do you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, I was just going to add the comment, at our organizational meeting at the beginning of the year, we list who's attending which committees and kind of call out all the things that the board is at and attending, and that is also part of the exercise of making the public known. And we have, as Brian mentioned, used the authorized attendance. If we know there's going to be something coming up that comes to the board, is also another mechanism to notice the public. So I guess if there's further direction on additional action you want to take as far as creating a list, we can do that.
Well, didn't we just say just on the agenda?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Lee, I like Derek's suggestion about just putting it on, under the items for consideration. That wouldn't, that would be a clear way to just let them know that Association meeting on March 21st at 6 o'clock. So I think that'd be a pretty easy way to do it. We just have to let you know ahead of time.
I would greatly appreciate that. I have try and keep up on some of those, but I know you guys attend a lot of various groups. So.
And then on top of that, Mr. Chair, April 5th, Township Officers Meeting, Southside Township. That's coming up really quick too, because they come one after another real quick.
Yep.
These things, just because the question was asked, and I believe we're safe, we're on firm footing here, but open meeting law violation has teeth. And once you're ensnared into that thing, it's tough to get out. It's as referred to as Mexican law. You're guilty till proven innocent, and how do you prove you're innocent from jail? It's one of those things that the public needs to know. They need to know why, because there's always those people out there that are thinking that we're all huddling up and deciding things in that smoke-filled back room, and there's no smoking in this building. But it's just good for clarity for the public that these things do happen from time to time. I know in cities I represent, they have to post it that after a meeting that they may be seen in one public place afterwards, not discussing business, but they may be seen there. I mean, if they go to a restaurant or some refreshment stand somewhere, these are things that people need to know, that if you see them there, we're not doing business there. We're just keeping our constituents informed of what's going on.
Refreshment stand, are you referring to like Dairy Queen?
Yeah, exactly.
Or Julius or something like that? You wouldn't be referring to a bar or anything, would you?
Well, yeah.
Mr. Burrell, do you have anything?
Yeah, we kind of follow up on the Fair Board meeting last night. It got postponed because of weather.
Last night it got postponed because of weather?
No, until last night. It was supposed to be scheduled for the week before. But anyway, I had talked earlier about the entertainment lineup, and I wanted to announce our coordinator's smiling down there, but his band, Pull Start Diesel, will be performing on July 21st.
Hey,
In the
hey.
evening, right, Lee?
In the evening, yes.
Yeah.
All right.
That's free then?
Yeah.
Or free for commissioners?
Yeah,
Anyway?
anybody can come in.
Oh, okay.
That's at the refreshment tent, right?
But anyway, no, so I say if anybody wants to come up and see Lee perform, he actually does a really good job. I
Yeah.
saw him at Maple Lake before, so.
And that's the 31st?
So,
It's just another one of his part-time jobs, you know,
Right.
between being a professional juror, having the band, and then coordinator.
Coordinator, what, you
And he might have some others too. I'm not
Well,
sure.
he's dad.
yeah.
He's bad too.
You know, dad, what is it? 12 kids?
Super dad.
You know, I lost count. I thought there might have been another one. I'll check when I get home.
Somewhere between a team and a football team, right?
What are the dates there?
Oh,
Want to announce that?
yes. Mark, before we go on, I should announce the dates of the fair because they actually are earlier this year. The fair is going to be held starting on July, hang on.
The 18th.
It starts July 18th and runs through Sunday, July 22nd. So usually it's a week later, but they moved it up a week this year.
It's because they knew I wasn't gonna be around that following
I
week.
think it was because of the Midway show,
Yeah.
to get a Midway show.
I know they've done that one year in August because of the Midway show, and
Yeah.
so, yeah.
So what, July 18th to the
18th
22nd?
to the 22nd, yeah.
And Lee is gonna be there on the
21st.
21st,
In the
Saturday.
evening.
You got room for off the stage, your place there, Charlie?
Yep.
Okay.
It's a big house. Pay a lot of taxes on it.
All right.
Anything else, Charlie?
No, that's it. That's all I have.
Commissioner Houston?
All right, well, I had was at the Southside Township meeting last week, and always good to touch base with them, and had a good discussion. And, then I was at the Buffalo Safe Schools meeting last Wednesday, and a lot of discussion about school safety and, some of their practices, and they've actually been doing, lockdown exercise and things for 20 years, so it's not new to them. But with the recent school shooting in Florida that's gotten so much attention, particularly, one of the positive results of that is kids are starting to kind of report things that are suspicious or don't look right and that kind of thing. So I think they've been more reluctant in the past. You know, I don't want to tell on my friends that they're into this or into that, but some more of that is coming. So that's the one positive thing. And also to remind people that they're having the community book read kickoff on Thursday night at the Performing Arts Center in Buffalo. The Gift of Imperfection is part of the Bounce Back Project, and so I think the first 200 people that get there get a free book by Brene Brown, so that should be good. And then I was at Safe Communities of Wright County. We had our annual roadside fatality report, and we had 7 fatalities in 2017. There was no multiples. In other words, you know, one person in the vehicle or pedestrian was killed. There was 4 single vehicles, and that included pedestrians. 5 out of the 7, there were criminal charges brought forward, and the 2 pedestrians were struck and killed. The ages of the fatalities were between ages 31 and 80. 2 were on state highways, 3 were on county roads, 1 was on a township road, 1 was on a city street, and none were on I-94. You know, it seems like the prior year, sometimes we've had a number of them, but none of them. So that's always, you know, it's sobering to hear these things, but it's also good information, and compared to the numbers, you know, that there was 10 years ago, they've they come way down. I mean, they're continuing to improve the safety, on our roads and,
Automobiles?
yeah, and the automobiles, so there's so many factors. Now, if we can just get people away from the distractions when they're driving, that will even make a greater impact.
There was an article, I think it was in Sunday's paper, regarding, it was either Saturday or Sunday, regarding comparing texting and phone driving to drunken driving.
Oh, yeah.
And the numbers are getting really, really close. So it's getting to be very scary.
It is because, as driving while impaired, intoxicated, or under other influence or under substances has gone down, but the distraction from texting has gone up. And there's a lot of things that distract us. I mean, you've got somebody in the car with you, and they like to talk, and so that's all. There's lots of things that distract us. So we really need to be more focused on driving. The Just Drive campaign is right on. Because, I mean, sometimes you're just thinking and all of a sudden it's like, I don't remember if I stopped, So that scares me once in a while. Like, okay, I don't remember going through that stop sign. And I know I had to have. I know I stopped, but I'm just thinking about, too many things, so.
Or was that last week?
But anyway, and then I went to Central Minnesota Joint Powers Board for the Workforce Center, and we did a nice exercise. It was thinking in terms of demographics and what we need to look for with the Workforce Center. I mean, where will we be like in 2020, 2030, 2040, and how the world will change. So it was also a good discussion, good meeting, and I forgot my Public Works Labor Management meeting. That was on Thursday. So we also had a good meeting. They will be at the fair this year. They are moving into a different training schedule, so they canceled their spring safety day, and they're going to have a more robust training in the fall. But then, beginning next year, they'll have more quarterly meetings. The winter maintenance, they're using less product. It's more efficient. There's going to be a training for the 49ers in Hinckley, April 3rd through the 5th, and so they'll look to see if there's anyone that will be going to that. And we had got the map that I'm sure we'll all get when we go to our committee of the whole tomorrow, but a lot of safety features that are being introduced this year between dynamic signage and like tree cutting. 35 and 117 has been a bad intersection, and so they've started by doing some tree clearing to open that up a little bit. But so anyway, we'll get more information tomorrow. That's it.
So was that a slow week for you then?
Yeah, it was. I had nothing to do last week or this week.
Last week, I'll let Commissioner Vetch talk about the ditch meeting we had with Monticello. On Friday, Commissioner Vetch and I were at an IT meeting regarding the follow-up with Infotech regarding the ERP system. They are putting together a presentation for the whole board. I don't recall if we kind of tentatively set a date or if we were going to do it during our board meeting or, no, we were going to do it during the...
It was referred to the strategic plan meeting on the 20th.
Strategic plan meeting. Yeah. So that's when, the end of the month?
20th. About a week out.
So look forward to learning everything you always wanted to know and could care less about ERP on that day. No, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
There's some neat stuff.
We talked about that at Southside, how much progress has been made, and in that department, and it's been, you know, I mean, great for me. I'm not a techie, but I certainly understand and appreciate just exactly, you know, how we need to progress and how that's really kind of at the heart of what our business, so.
Well, we can't do more with less without
Yeah,
technology. It's
exactly.
impossible. And having the right technology in place is critical.
Right.
But be aware, board, we're just scratching the surface of this mountain
Yeah.
that we are gonna climb.
Yeah, I know.
If we're gonna climb, there's a lot of information.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Mr. Chair, on that, I also last week spoke to the most conservative town in all of Wright County, and I'll tell you that, Hanover. Informed them of how much we're spending on technology upgrades and what the future's holding there. And I did not hear one person in that audience, it was a pretty packed house in there, or the board, saying don't do it, because every single city has gone through some major technology upgrades lately, and they fully understand what it takes to do that. And it's not cheap.
Well, the other issue is, it's not cheap to have systems that don't talk to each other. So re-entering stuff 3 and 4 times,
Yeah.
because they're not meshed, leads for more errors.
Right.
It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
It's not efficient.
I think the state is fully aware of that in their systems.
I question it. In fact, I just sent an email last night to our state senators, representatives, just letting them know what we did here at the county, that we did that inventory, found out how many we actually had, how many duplicates we had, how many systems we had that we were paying for that nobody was no longer using.
Yep.
Suggesting that maybe if they haven't done something like that, that they should take a look at it and then have a committee decide what should move forward and how. Because obviously Minute is not, has been a concern.
Yeah.
You know, why do they keep reinventing the wheel? I mean, they had the one company on the line for how many months or years working on Minlars, and that company said, this is crazy, and walked out.
Yep.
Obviously, there's some issues. So anyway, that's all I had.
All right, I guess it's my turn. So Wednesday last week, myself and Commissioner Dowliden met with the city of Monticello, also with someone from Rinky Noonan and attorney's office, and Matt from the ditch coordinator, talking about ditch 33. Come to some interesting information. We may be one of these, a ditch that was turned over to the city that may be coming back, just due to some technicalities that it really never maybe officially transferred over. In order to do some of the work, we have to, well, something of that nature. It just, I think, incomplete paperwork of some degree, or just vague paperwork. We have to get this figured out because we got some issues on that ditch, but until we can get that ironed out based on the attorney's recommendations how to go forward. More to come with that will be soon. Also on Wednesday, I did a tour of functional industries, and I want to encourage.
I heard about that.
Any board members that have not done that tour, go there, see the place. That is a huge resource and an asset to our county. I thought I knew what they did there, and then going there, I'm like, wow, you do that? I mean, it was just really impressed with the amount of resources that they offer to all people of the county. I mean, just there's a lot of people that you wouldn't think that they would serve, but they do. So
yeah, I happened to at Rotary. I saw the Rod Peterson, the director, and he said Derek Betch was out today, and so he was very, very happy that you came.
It was very good, and I encourage you, if you ever get an opportunity, please do go and see it. It gives you a good perspective of how big of an asset it is. Thursday, the 8th, I had the Emergency Management Public Health Emergency Planning meeting. We went through an exercise of scoring potential risks here in the county. Then also, we talked a little bit about, we have a COOP tabletop coming up for department heads at the end of this month. Otherwise, that was mostly just kind of going over the planning for that. And with the ERP kickoff meeting, and that concludes my week of last week.
All right. Partner Kelly, do you have anything?
Yeah, I guess a few things. A lot of things were covered about the ERP. I did get the opportunity to present in front of the Planning Commission on Thursday night regarding our stormwater pond out for the construction of the new courts facility. That will be moving forward. I'm completing some interviews today and tomorrow for the Assistant HR Director. We'll be coming forward hopefully next week with a recommendation regarding contracted janitorial services. And the last of the directional signage that's been installed, the electronic signage, is going in today. So hopefully that whole system is installed by the end of today. I've had a lot of positive comments. It going in, and we have a lot of ideas how to make it better as we move forward too. So.
Yeah, I really, I love the signage and that interactive board. If you go to the interactive board over by the south entrance there, yeah, on the bottom, where they have the job opportunities scrolling too. So it's and there's a lot of job opportunities. So people check our website for working for Wright County here.
Yeah, that way they can make the right choice also.
That's right.
Yeah, they do look really nice. Did you guys get the maps hooked around yet?
I know they're working on it.
Are they?
The other day, yeah.
I thought they were fixed yesterday. We checked them out.
They may have been. I haven't checked it today. I know one thing that we're working on implementing too is a notice right as you come around the corner towards DMV to give an update on, line if Mid-Lars is working, just so people don't have to stand in line and then find out something's not going to be able to be done for them. So,
do we? And I haven't paid close attention, but are we talking about vital records going upstairs, or being more passports upstairs, something? So people are going to stand in line for the licensing?
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of suggestions from folks. I think we've got that already located appropriately relative to the passports.
Okay.
But there's been a few things that people have raised that, hey, that's a good idea. And that's a nice thing about that signage. It's very customizable.
Yep.
You can put all sorts of stuff on there.
Do we have one, is there one down by the DMV at all?
There is, yep, right by the DMV itself.
Is that one,
Interactive? No.
yeah, it's not interactive, I know, but is that one at least scrolling, providing, so it's not stagnant, it's doing different information at all, or?
I believe that's the intent. I just don't believe we've developed all that content yet.
That's fine. So, it takes time.
Yeah.
But it does look nice. It almost looks like Wright County's starting to look more professional. We're coming into the 20th century.
We're just dipping our toes in.
Yeah.
18 years into the century.
Is there anything else?
Nope, that's all I had for quick comments, so.
All right. And I'm assuming you fine gentlemen are here for the 10:30 meeting regarding ditch 10? Okay. And if you have any questions or concerns ahead of time, the little guy sitting behind you is the one that you can,
Not me, this guy.
yeah, the little guy, not the big old guy, the little guy. He's the one you need to start picking on.
Okay.
All right, hearing nothing else, we are adjourned at 10:10.